Some stories on wheels come with more twists than a racetrack. On Fact Channels, we're shifting into high gear to uncover the dramatic and sometimes bizarre sagas behind the biggest automotive recalls in history. Buckle up as we reveal how tiny bolts and misunderstood brakes sent shockwaves through entire industries, transforming cars from prized possessions to front-page headlines overnight. Ready to see which automakers hit the brakes hardest? Let's roll back through some metal-melting mistakes that left an imprint far beyond the factory floor. A single bolt, a misplaced pedal, a hidden airbag inflator. Sometimes it's the smallest parts in our cars that trigger the biggest crises. Welcome to a journey through the largest automotive recalls in history. Picture the highways of 1980s America, a rumbling sea of minivans and sedans. Beneath their hoods, millions of Ford Pintos carry a quiet threat, a gas tank so vulnerable to rear impacts that it could ignite from a simple fender bender. The Pintos recall became synonymous with corporate oversight and marked a chilling turning point for automobile safety. What happens when the machines we trust most betray us? In the early 2000s, Firestone tires fitted to Ford Explorers began peeling apart on open roads. Blowouts led to crashes, rollovers, and hundreds of lives lost. The tire recall would ultimately involve over 14 million units and shatter public faith in two American icons. Few could imagine that something as benign as a car floor mat would become deadly. But in 2009, Toyota recalled millions of vehicles after a strange phenomenon: accelerator pedals sticking under floor mats. Cars sped out of control and couldn't be stopped, the simplest accessory turning catastrophic. A cloud hung over Honda, Nissan, and other giants as an invisible enemy crept into their airbags. Takata Corporation's defect wasn't just rare, it was unprecedented. When humidity reacted with cheapening chemicals inside inflators, airbags turned into lethal bombs. The largest recall in industry history followed, over 100 million vehicles worldwide summoned back home. Let's rewind to the snowy streets of Canada in 2014. GM's ignition switch scandal began not on Wall Street but in small towns where cars mysteriously powered off mid-drive. Airbags wouldn't deploy, brakes failed. It turned out a component costing less than $1 had caused at least 124 deaths before General Motors came clean, after more than a decade. Yet sometimes recalls reveal corporate valor rather than neglect. In the late 90s, Volvo discovered subtle corrosion in seatbelt buckles occurring only after years exposed to Scandinavian salt spray, a flaw invisible to most. Rather than gamble with lives, they recalled every affected car, setting a golden standard for preemptive action. Imagine waking up to discover your luxury sedan might burst into flames while parked in your garage. In 2017, BMW faced this exact scenario due to faulty wiring harnesses prone to overheating, even when cars weren't running. The recall stretched across continents and models, sparking urgency in Europe and America alike. Even software isn't immune. In recent years, Tesla pushed an over-the-air recall affecting autopilot, a digital glitch that reprogrammed millions of cars overnight without ever stepping foot in a dealership. This virtual recall hinted at what future crises might look like: silent, swift, global. Seldom discussed is the scale of recalls inside the trucking world. In 2009, Navistar International called back nearly 500,000 heavy-duty trucks over defective brake valves, a flaw capable of disabling entire fleets and strangling commerce across North America. Dramatic as they are, modern recalls find their roots deep in automotive history. In 1969, Chevrolet Corvaire's suspension design flaws surfaced after years of whispered complaints, culminating with Ralph Nader's crusade for consumer safety and mass returns that forced Detroit to take engineering accountability seriously for the first time. Unseen yet crucial are recalls for emissions cheating systems like Volkswagen's infamous Dieselgate. Software altered test results while real emissions soared, until regulators caught on and forced one of the largest technical recalls for environmental fraud ever attempted. It's easy to assume luxury shields you from danger, but Mercedes-Benz once recalled a sweeping number of S-Class sedans due to spontaneous airbag deployments triggered by static electricity building up inside plush interiors. A spectacular example that no badge is immune. Sometimes recalls must cross oceans, figuratively and literally. In Japan during the late 80s, Mazda discovered fuel lines degrading from locally sourced material not tested for American ethanol blends. Ships full of Mazdas were rerouted before arrival, initiating one of the earliest international vehicle quarantines and recalls. Rarity breeds risk when it comes to collector cars, but even legendary Ferraris have succumbed to recall drama. In 2012, Ferrari called back hundreds of rare F458 Italias after discovering adhesive used near gas tanks was flammable at high temperatures, ironically threatening their own high-octane thrill with literal fire. If you enjoyed these awesome facts, hit like and subscribe for more fun discoveries on Fact Channels.